Thank you, Madam Chairman and Ranking Member Inhofe, for the opportunity and the invitation to testify about my bill, joined by many of my colleagues here and on this committee, the Big Oil Bailout Prevention Act. The bill would increase the cap on economic damages resulting from an oil spill from the current $75 million to $10 billion. Companion legislation would eliminate the $1 billion per incident cap on the oil spill liability trust fund, and together they accomplish three things. First and foremost, the bill will make sure that people in communities injured by an oil spill will get compensated for their loss. Right now, fishermen, hotel owners, and other people dependent on clean water and clean shorelines for their livelihood are collectively holding their breath, hoping this spill does not destroy fisheries or make landfall again, destroy beaches or estuaries. At the very least, they should feel confident that if economic damages do hurt them, they will be made whole. The second thing this bill does is to ensure that claimants will be made whole quickly. It is possible that other federal laws or even state law will allow some claimants to be compensated for their losses even if a $75 million cap is hit, but we do not want another situation like that after the Exxon Valdez, where it literally took 2 decades for some to get paid, and some were never compensated because they gave up. Under the subsequent Oil Pollution Act, claimants can now quickly and efficiently have their claims processed up to $75 million. By raising the cap, we can ensure all victims can be compensated on time. Finally, the legislation will ensure that polluters are the ones compensating spill victims, not federal taxpayers. We all know that when a crisis unfolds, if responsible parties cannot be made to pay for their damages, people will look to the federal government for help. Taxpayers should not have to pay for the misdeeds of oil companies or those who drill, period. Madam Chairman, as the investigation into this matter goes forward, we will see blame cast far and wide for the accident. There is no doubt that mistakes will be found, that industry and regulators alike will be criticized for their arrogance in thinking a spill simply could not happen. But viewed from an economic perspective, the cause of the accident is quite clear. When you have an industry that does not have to pay the full cost of the damages they cause, they will automatically not invest enough in safety. If they know that they are on the hook for the first $75 million in economic damages, perhaps they will not invest millions in a new valve or even a few $100,000 for an acoustic switch. For a business, decisions are simple. How will each decision maximize their profits? It is time for us to pass the Big Oil Bailout Prevention Act, force companies to bear the full cost of their damages, and therefore give them the economic incentive to be as safe as possible. Now, some have suggested that despite the potentially astronomical damages in the Gulf, the bill sets the cap too high. Well, given the fact that BP has earned $5.6 billion in profits, not proceeds, profits, in the first 3 months of the year, I think somehow they and others in that category will be okay. Our legislation has received wide support from both the House and Senate leadership, the White House, many members of this committee. Let me close and make one final point. Just because the crisis will undoubtedly result in new legislation, more safety regulations, and new safety technologies does not mean that oil drilling will become completely safe. There is no such thing as too safe not to spill. We were told that. We've learned a different lesson. It is a lesson that certainly, for my home state of New Jersey, a $50 billion tourism industry that Senator Lautenberg and I represent, a major coastal fishing, 4th largest in the nation, we cannot afford that type of drilling, that type of spill on the beaches of New Jersey and the consequences that it will produce for a generation. That's what's at stake in the long run. But in the short run, Madam Chair, we should make sure that people ultimately will be compensated and not just simply rely on a company saying we'll pay all legitimate claims, whatever that means.